Make a pot for your succulent using the pinch pot technique. Cactus Pots Project 1. Step 3. How to make a pinch pot. Okay, so we have our 200-gram block, and the first thing that we want to do is to push the corners inwards just by gently tapping them with our fingers. So use your fingertips for this and tap. Turn it over, tap, next corner, tap. So you can see I'm pushing each corner inwards. Turn and tap, just with your fingertips. No need to use the whole palm. Tap and tap. Once you've got the corners pushed in, then you can tap on the other edges. Push those in, turn it over, push any straight edges inwards. As you see, starting to take shape. Okay, so now you can cup your hands and transfer it between two of your hands. Curve your fingers. As you're slapping it, make sure both hands are curved. You can throw it a bit back and forth like this until you have a ball. The pinch pot is made like this, so your thumb goes into the center of the clay and the fingers on the outside pinch the clay between the thumb and the fingers. So push your palm into the center. Okay, you're obviously not going all the way through. Make sure there's some clay left there at the bottom. Get your fingers, curve them around the pot, and now push with your thumb. So it's more your thumb that is pushing the clay towards the fingers rather than the other way around. The fingers are kind of shaping it. What we're doing is spinning as we pinch. So make sure you rotate the pot just slowly, a little bit at a time, and feel the thickness of the clay in between your thumb and your fingers. Then work upwards. So here I'm shimming my fingers and my thumb up a little bit, and now pinch slightly higher and keep rotating. If you feel any sort of lumps and bumps where it's uneven, press a little bit harder there. Push the clay upwards and also try to curve it inwards towards your thumb, so it's more the thumb that is doing the work rather than the fingers. You might start to feel that your thumb is getting a bit of a workout here. If you want, switch to your other hand. Give thumb a rest. Here I'm working a little bit closer to the top now, but be very careful not to pinch the actual rim itself. So you want to leave the clay quite thick up here. You might notice that it's starting to crack a little bit. You see there? Okay. The clay takes the heat from my hands and it dries a little bit as I work, particularly at the top. And there's a little bit of stress caused, which is causing the cracks just from the pinching action. Don't worry about it, just smooth it over with your finger like this to stop the cracks from becoming bigger. Don't use any water. If you start to use water at this stage, this can get really messy quite quickly, and the clay will become too fragile to kind of control the shape. Here we go, pinching. Now make sure your hand is cupped, so you're always supporting the clay in a cupped hand so that the pot stays rounded. Don't put it on the table, that will make it flat. And be careful particularly not to put it on like a smooth plastic surface, so because it can stick in place and completely ruin it, make it really hard to get it off the surface. So if you do need to put it down, just put it down on the material, and the best way is to put it down upside down. Okay, that won't change the shape. So here I'm always working above the table just with the pot in my hands, taking the time to feel the thickness of the pot. And also you'll know if you're pinching evenly, the rim will stay roughly even. Okay, so you won't have a bit where the rim is a little bit lower on one side than on the other, or so forth. If you do notice that, pinch a little bit more in that area to push the clay upwards. You can switch the direction you're rotating if you like. It's quite a mindful process. Take your time, do it slowly, do a little bit at a time. Might take a little while to work out how hard you need to pinch the clay, so you might like to do a few of these. If you're getting any cracks, just smooth them over. The clay should be quite soft at this stage. If you have like extra bits of clay waiting to make another pinch pot out of, it's a good idea to have those under plastic so that the clay doesn't dry out. If the clay is too dry, it will crack quite a lot when you try to do this. So I continue to pinch, and as you see, I'm kind of holding the clay towards my body as I do this, and in a cupped hand. What I'm trying to do is to curve my hand inwards so that the pressure is going around like that. Try not to go outwards, because then you'll end up with a very wide, flat piece. It's okay for some cacti. You might like to experiment with the sort of shapes that you get. I guess a lot of cacti don't need very much soil, very shallow root systems. Here we are. Okay, the thinner this pot gets, the thinner the walls, the more floppy it will become. You can see this is distorting like jelly in my hand. That's why it's really important to keep it supported in a rounded cupped hand, and kind of spread your fingers out to give it as much support as you can. Keep pinching, so that action, okay? But what I'm doing really is pushing more with my thumb. So it's more my thumb, and my fingers are kind of curved. I do apply a bit of pressure with my fingertips. This helps to even out any kind of thicker bits that I can feel with my fingertips. Okay, here we are. Okay, so I think that this has reached about as thin as it can be. Just checking the base as well. Try and get your hand in right in there at the bottom to make sure that the base is also even with the wall, so you haven't left a big lump of thick clay down the bottom. And you can use your finger to smooth this out a little bit. Later on, when this is the leather hard stage, we'll be able to do a little bit more to smooth it as well, if you want. Okay, but these marks are rather lovely as well. You can really use that. It shows part of the making process. Main thing is that we don't want it breaking, so you don't have any holes going all the way through. Okay, so now that I've got this, I'm going to put some paper inside it to help keep the shape. Here I'm just paying attention to the rim, just to make sure it is roughly even. And as you can see, the rim is quite rounded, so that the thickness of the rim is maybe a little bit thicker than the wall below it. Okay. If you have a very thin rim here, if you start pinching so it's really, really thin, then what will happen is that can crack and dry quite a lot faster than the rest of the pot. So yeah, it causes cracking and it can be very fragile. Okay, so see this pot is now really quite wobbly and quite fragile. Put it down upside down on the board like this. Grab some paper, this is my paper towel, and I know from experience that this size of pot needs about 3 squares of the paper towel. Scrunch it up and gently, like picking up my pot, I'm trying to spread my fingers out as much as possible. Pick it up gently, pop the paper in there, okay, like this. Now in the next video I will show you how to do additions. So if you want to do any little feet, or if you're feeling creative and want to do tentacles or handles or eyeballs or baubles or whatever, I will show you how to do that. In this video, this is the simplest pot that you can make. So I'm going to dry this to leather hard in the oven. Here I'm just moving it a little bit where I can see some cracks. So to dry it in the oven, just grab your oven tray and paper on top. Get your pot, put it upside down, and you can shape it a little bit here just to make sure that it is roughly round. Okay, now this goes in the oven at 50 degrees, so it's 50. I know that all ovens are different, and also the thickness of the clay may make a difference. When I tried this, it was 15 minutes, 15 minutes at 50 degrees, like this, upside down. And then after that, I took it out, took the paper out, turned it the right way up, and put it in for a further 5 minutes. Okay. And that should hopefully come out leather hard, but you might need to test this to see. I will show you in the next video what it looks like leather hard. Okay, for the next stage. Thank you. See you in the next video.